good lighting. You got lighting over each individual thing.
Most people in this building are on their feet all day long.
It's tough, and it's cement, and that you start to notice that after a while.
Even as you pointed out, that person on that rest bar who's leaning, that's a lot of pressure on the legs. It's not quite as much as standing, but it's still a lot of pressure.
We've always had a lot of female workers in Champlain. We have a male, Barry's there now, the first male we've ever had that I know of, a postmaster, for many, many years. And women with child rearing, bearing, and so forth, the legs seem to bother them more. And I know my wife's been bothered with, with the veins and the legs, because a lot of it because of standing there for hours and hours, at the counter. All right. Anything else we should know about while we're right here?
No, I think.
What are we going to do now?
I think we'll go over, because you talked about priority mail.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Let's go see.
And we'll see that, and then we'll do something on parcel post, and maybe go to the bullpen where this stuff all gets sent out of.
Let's go to the bullpen. Yeah, that's where they get their at the end of the game. That's where the pitcher comes from, right from the bullpen. Here they send you to the bullpen. These are the normal bags where you're throwing in bigger items or boxes.
Yeah, bundles of letter size or odd-shaped pieces, third-class mail primarily.
Right, and then this is pulled up and is sealed down with this, and that goes to now.
That's called a sack.
That's the sack.
Right.
All right, now we got some orange sacks. But that's for Plattsburgh High School, the orange.
These are priority sacks. Now, what we're talking about over here is an outgoing operation going outside of our immediate area. And these are what priority mail, and only priority mail goes in here. No other kind of mail, just priorities. They're broken down by zip code areas, and they go to airmail facilities. And these about 20 racks, 25 racks, take up the whole country. Half of these would go to Albany and go to the General Mail Post Office there for surface transportation. The others go to the airport for immediate dispatch in the airplanes.
Is that the green rather than the orange? Does that mean anything? Some are green, some are...
Right. The green ones would be the surface ones.
All right.
126, 27, 25, that's all surface transportation. But we have every part of the country here, every part of our mailing area, based on zip codes, of course. And as I said, the only thing that goes in here is priority mail. No other kind of mail.
You get
always expedited.
It's a growing thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good part of our business, and we were talking earlier about how good of a deal it is. And one of the things about priority mail that improves the service is that it's only handled with priority mail. No other mail is commingled with it, and it's handled in a priority fashion.
First in, first out when you get to the plane and everything else. McDonald's has their super fries, and you have your priority mail.
The only service that gets more efficient handling than this is express mail. That's also sacked individually, and that's always the first thing.
Express?
Express mail, overnight guarantee.
Oh, all right, but not, I was thinking of express as being a way of transport.
Yeah.
Then registered mail gets even more attention.
Registered mail gets a lot of individual attention, but it is not fast by any means.
People think sometimes that it is.
No,
they'll send a letter from Montreal down here, registered mail, and it takes a long, long time.
That also has to go through customs.
Yes, and it has to go. Now, tell me just a little, maybe half a minute here. So what happens to registered mail? Everybody that handles it?
Everybody that handles registered mail must sign that they did, and they must log it. It always goes in locked pouches or sealed envelopes. It is always under control. We can always track where it is.
You know where it is.
Right. It gets the most security of any of our mail. That's why it takes longer. It's only dispatched on certain trips. It's only received on certain trips, so that we know where it is. It's handled by people that are in locked cages, for lack of words, so that there's no other access but the authorized.
Some of this what mail is delivered on Sunday?
Express mail.
Express mail is delivered on a Sunday?
Yep, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
And guarantee what, next day?
Next day, and we go to most zip areas. There are a few we can't get to, and that again has to do with transportation line. We might be able to get to the major area, but there's no transportation for us to get to that other area by the next day.
Okay.
And it's guaranteed by 3 o'clock usually.
And if you haven't used priority mail, and you're getting up to $1.50 and above for the extra, $3, an extra $1.50. If it's up, many times it's even going to cost you $2.10. The extra 90 cents, it gets there quick.
That's right.
And I think it has a little bit better, a little more gentle handling, maybe. Would you say?
Well, it's handled by itself. I mean, when we handle priority mail, we handle priority mail exclusively. There's one person who sorts this, or two, whatever, and that's all they do. They don't do any other job. They do this.
Yep. I've used it and been very happy with it, and I really don't care for the 2 days. 3 days is fine,
Yeah.
But I want it to be sure that it gets there, and not be thrown in with the bigger packages and the normal.
You can send a letter priority mail. You can send a 1-ounce letter priority mail, and there's a lot of people that do that. And of course, we ask that they use our own envelopes then, because they're more readily identified, and it does cost you $3 even though it weighs an ounce. But A lot of times service is enhanced by using priority mail.
And maybe that important too. Okay, anything else we should see around here that you want to tell me?
No, let's go. We can wander over to the bullpen.
Okay, we'll go to the bullpen. We moved to what he wants to call the bullpen, and I don't know why and what happens here.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know why we call it the bullpen either, but I do know that this is, in essence, the final area mail would go to before it's going out the doors as we talk. Red is here working now, breaking mail down into various containers that are going out to the offices in the 129 area. And as you can see in the top, there's placards on each one, and there's a color designation and a color. That signifies the truck it's going on, so that you can go by not only the name of the city, for example, these first are Saranac Lake, Tupper Lake, Lake Placid. You can also go by the color. This is a green one. It goes out there and gets lined up with all the mail going on that truck. And they break the mail down, whether it's in sacks, in bundles, and we can go and look at a couple to see, and they break it down in these containers. Now, some of the containers are direct to one post office. Others are split. The bottom goes to one office, the top goes to another. This would be the final spot. Those trays of letters that we filled up and we swept off the machines, the automation and or the letter sorting machines, and those flat tubs that Tommy was working on, and he was working on the SCF, would come over here and be put in these containers. These are the containers that would get rolled out onto the truck to the office. That's it for my aspect. Going to the office for delivery.
And Red seems to be working more with weight than anybody I've seen so far. He's doing the heavier work here. He's the one that's really working the most. I bet you he's tired when he gets home at night.
Yeah.
Huh?
This job, there's a lot of weight in this job. The only job that would have more lifting and pulling and so forth would be a mail handler unloading the trucks. But that's what this job is about. Moving the bulkier stuff, the larger pieces, into these post cons.
Yeah. Now, can they be up to, what, 70 pounds?
Up to 70 pounds.
Do you have air conditioning in the building, too?
Yes, we do.
Oh,
Because of all the computers.
Good working conditions. Yeah, you're probably glad to come to work in the summer, right, Red? Yeah. And hate to go home when the time is up. Right. All right, where are we going down this side, or?
So you've got the Champlain and Ross's Point on the right, what we call the right one.
Oh, I got you. Then you can get how many of these on one truck, you said?
Well, depending on the truck size, we can get 9, 12, 14, or 16, depending on the truck size going to the area. Usually the truck size that the contractor has is sufficient for what we'd normally give him.
You just had this real big mailing not long ago, the New York and federal tax return. That's a big operation, huh?
Yeah, what they do is they do things called drop shipments as well, where Plattsburgh would get a lot for the associate office, but they might drop in Saranac Lake and Lake Placid as well, having nothing to do with us. But we would get in all the smaller office for distribution from here.
Because Saranac's underneath your number, right?
Yes.
129
Saranac Lake, 83.
83. Yeah. All right. Anything now? What else? And you'd also put the flats in here, the things you. Oh, then these are the regular flats themselves.
Right,
they go
here's some bundled letters, say that work share information we talked about.
See, that was already bundled by the people who did this, and they got a lower price because of it.
And the flat size, it's all that is bundled together.
Right. And then the trays would also be fit in here.
The trays and parcel post.
Yeah.
And in the 129s, we talked over there earlier about the priority mail going in those sacks. The 129s do not go in these sacks; they go right in these containers. If I was to mail a priority mail package today for Malone, it would come over from the other building, come over to this building, and we'd be put right in Malone's postcon.
And would it be in an orange container of some kind?
No, it would be right in one of these containers.
Right in the regular. You leave that container in here, the whole thing with only 3 pieces in it?
Well, until it gets dispatched, there's no such thing as going to Malone with only 3 pieces. They get lots of mail.
No, but when it gets here, you'd put that bag in here with there's only 3 going to Champlain in it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And then it would get to the individual office, they'd break it up, and they'd handle it accordingly.
Okay. Anything else that we should do? It's just
you pretty much.
We're running close to the end of our tape, and we certainly want to thank you for being so congenial to us and so receptive, and for showing us just about everything I guess that you could show us in here. I've noticed some things hanging down with a couple reels over that red reel. What is that for?
Well, you can hear it now. It's
Is
air
that
pressure
air?
going on. When they're cleaning the machines, they do that on this tour because there's less people. They blow out all the machines, all the dust, everything. Preventative maintenance.
There's a lot of dust with paper.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of dust.
And it's cheap paper.
Yes. And you know, even the video cases you have at home you buy with your video tapes, you keep going in and out of that case. It causes dust, and that gets into your machine also when you're in your VCR. So we know that you're the postmaster for the city of Plattsburgh, and you have a title because you're a sectional center?
I'm just the postmaster Plattsburgh.
And that
but-
includes the sectional
right,
center?
Part of
huh?
my duties are that, right? Manager of the mail processing center.
The one question I didn't ask, and if we've got time, cut me off, Calvin, if we do, but you got, these people are interchangeable in their jobs?
Pretty much.
People take vacation, they get
Yes,
sick?
and we have people that replace them. We call them flexible employees.
You
or
call them in
transition-
when you, I
Pretty
see.
much they work all the time, but we move them from area to area. For example, you saw Red and you saw
Yes.
Tommy and you saw Al. They have jobs in which they do every day that's the same area. When they're on vacation, as you said, we use these other people to fill in for them.
Okay. Because government employees get vacation, they also have up to 13 days sick time, which I had when I was in the service, and
That's
we
right.
don't get paid if we don't use it at the
That's
end. We don't get money for it.
How do we get hired here?
How do you get hired in case somebody wants to get hired at the post
As
office?
in all post offices, you must take a test, a clerk carrier test. We just gave it recently, so I don't see it happening for a while yet. They just gave it, then you must be on a register. And then based on your score on that register, you get called when there's a vacancy in the office which you select, and you get interviewed and determined from there.
Where would they get an application to fill out to say they're interested in taking the test?
Well, right now, the only place you can't get an application for clerk carrier to offer. You can only get them when the test is being offered. We just did it. It probably won't be for 3 or 4
Right.
years. Most offices have applications for rural carrier or auxiliary, which you can get at any post office and send in. They give that test periodically.
Okay, how long was that open for? How would someone have known there was a clerk test going to be given?
10 days. It was on the television. It was on,
Oh, it was
in the
on
newspapers,
television?
and it
It'd
was
be in the
noticed in all the
office?
post offices.
In all the post offices. All right, that's the way it's done. And I guess you could, if you got any questions, you could ask another post office employee. They don't always know it, but maybe they can check it out for you. But like you say, for 3 or 4 years, you don't have a big turnover.
No.
Government employees are not a big turnover, and you don't get transferred out of the post office.
You can transfer it to another area, but most of the
unless
people
you're
in this
asking-
area live in this area
Yeah.
because they want to live here.
Yep, and it's a promotion. All right, well, that's it from Hometown Cable. We appreciate, again, all your comments and your patronage of Hometown Cable, and particularly the show called What's Going On Here that I'm involved with Calvin every Sunday. And it's on 5 times at 12:30. It's on again at 4:15, 8 p.m., midnight, and then 8 the following morning. 5 chances to see the same show. And if you like what you saw and you saw one of the first couple of shows, tell your neighbors about it. Tell them that there's a show on that they might be interested. That's one way it gets around. Watch for the bulletin board that Calvin has at the beginning of each program that says what's on. And, they don't expect you to watch everything that's shown, that this isn't going to happen. Particularly our shows get pretty long here, 2 hours. If you can stand me for 2 hours and you can stand this man for 2 hours, we hope you've enjoyed this show. And when you see George in the street, tell him that you enjoyed his show. And the man works hard. It's not all gravy, and I'm